a high personal cost. It wasn't just me alone. Even people working with me, my special assistants, who were not even given jobs after. Some of them were told, you worked with her, so we are not going to employ you. Some were victimized. You know, my family paid a very high cost. And therefore, when you're doing that, when your mother at 83 gets kidnapped, and I'll never stop talking about it. I will never, because it was the worst nightmare of my life. And when your mother overhears people talking about how are they going to dispose of her body, she overheard the people asking someone at the other end of the line, what thing we go do with him body? So somebody was giving them instructions on how they should dispose of her body. And this is my mother is a retired professor of sociology. So she's somebody who is schooled. It was terrifying. And if you mention it to her today, she begins to shake. We can't talk about it with her. She's still alive. But if you see her and you say, do you remember what happened? She starts shaking. That to me was a huge, huge cost. Then the attempts that were made to attack me, myself, which you read of in the book, physically harm me. Well, for me, I was less worried. But the thought that my relatives could be attacked at any time was horrible. So it was not easy. When that didn't happen, then they tried to damage my reputation. And you know what corrupt people do? Some of them hide behind others to do the attacks. But when they have a chance, they try to describe you as themselves. They accuse you of the same thing they are guilty of. And so they did try to do so much extensive reputational damage. You know, I hijacked $1 billion. And I always joke to people, when my husband saw that headline, he asked me why he's still paying a mortgage. Why aren't we on a yacht? You know, where have I kept this money that I've hijacked? And my father actually asked me the same. You know? So they try to do reputational damage. And here is where I have to say thanks to the international community, Sanjay. You asked me, how did you withstand it? I withstood it because I had Nick Stern is here, you know, who endorsed the book. Homi Masood, there's so many friends. Internationally, people were behind me and saying, we know you're not like that. You've been with us for 25 years, 30 years. We know what you're capable of. There were some in the international community who may have, you know, thought it was true or not true. I don't really care. 90% of people were behind me. And what I say is that's extraordinary, that I had that luck. What of others who didn't have an international career? What if I'd not spent 25 years at the World Bank and so many leaders? And you cannot believe, I'm very grateful to many African leaders, presidents who reached out to me to tell me, hang in there, we're behind you. You know, so it's that kind of support. You need to signal to people who are trying to fight that, by the way, there are people out here who believe in what you're